Hi friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and hours ago today I released a video that I ultimately took down. It was a very private one, and after I released it, I thought better of it and took it down because it was just too private. However, I did notice that 5 people saw it. So in the half hour or so that I had it up, 5 people were able to see it. So for those of you who were able to watch it, I hope it had value to you, and I hope it's helpful. But having done that video, it prompted me to think that this topic that I'm about to do would be a good topic for another video. And that is to focus on the 9-card spread that you've seen me do a number of times. For today's video, I'm using the Jean Noblet Tarot. This one, recreated by Jean Claude Flornoy. I like this deck a lot. Of all my artistic decks or historic decks, this is the one that comes closest to being a workhorse deck. The reason I like it is because it photographs well. And when I do multiple card readings, like 13, I'm able to get all 13 easily in the photograph and have all the cards still photograph really well, And so that's why I'm using it today for this demonstration. Now, I've said this a number of times also. When you're doing the 9-card spread, where I do 3 rows of 3, I didn't invent that. I'm sure there are lots of people who lay 3 rows of 3 to do either tarot or, any other type of cartomancy process. And I'm not the person who invented the concept of tallying up numerological values to come up with a quintessential card, right? But I do believe, I've never seen it before, someone doing both, the 3 rows of 3 and then the quintessential card at the end, plus a 4th card representing the whole kit and caboodle. And you know what? I thought, I'm going to claim this as my own because I didn't see anybody do it. I've never seen it in any books. And I want to claim it, as one that I'm doing. And you're welcome to, you're welcome to it. But I, do ask that if you use it in a public forum or in a public social media outlet of any type, that you're respectful and that you give me credit for it. Okay, now why do I like this? Why do I like this? And I'm not asking any question. I'm just laying 3 rows of 3 cards. I like using this format because very often when people have a question, whether it's about their family life, their work life, their romance, there's usually at least, 1 to 3 questions that are part and parcel of the original question, right? If it's a question about romance, they could have a couple things, who is the person who is best suited for me? Where may I find that person? And, what might their occupation be? So they're all 3 questions, all 3 questions are related to the primary question. And so 3 rows of 3 really works very well because I can assign 1 row to, where you might find that person or another row to, what personality characteristics or how I could identify that person, and the 3rd row to some other aspect. Now, before I lay the cards, it would be in my intent as I handle to mix the cards to say whatever cards fall in the 1st row will answer that part of the question. Whichever cards fall in the center row will answer this other part of the question. And then the cards that fall in the 3rd row will answer and address the last question that was part of the overall question. So each of these cards don't have positional meanings, but the row themselves can be thought of as positional in regard to answering a personal, one of the questions that was part of the general overall question. I hope I said that right. Now, I also, and you've seen me do it before, will add a quintessential card at the end for each. Now, I don't want to, bore you with me going through the deck and trying to find it. So I'm going to pause right now and I'm going to lay the quintessential numerological value for each row, plus a fourth one, which represents the whole kit and caboodle. So give me a couple seconds. Okay, I'm back. So when I tally up the value of the cards in the top row, and I've discussed this before, I don't assign numerological value to the court cards. Some people do. If you decide that you do want to assign the card with a numerological value, the pages would be 11, the knights would be 12, the queens would be 13, and the kings would be 14. Why don't I do it? Well, I just, it makes it overly complicated, so I just don't, So I ignore the face value, the face cards. Okay, so we have fortitude and we have 4, and that gives us 15. So I pulled the devil card to represent the quintessential message of that row. In this row, it tallies up to 13, and in this row, it tallies up to the emperor. All of them, and you could just assess that by adding these 3 and reducing it to a number between 1 and 21, and we get the Pope. So that would be the overall gist of the reading. And I tend to push these aside a little bit because I will, focus on this part as the body of the spread, but these cards as enhancement cards. Now, I know you've seen me use the quintessential cards a number of times. A lot of people will say, that's really stupid, don't do it, or they think it's gimmicky, or they just don't agree with it. And to them, I say, okay, don't do it, right? I like it, I've been reading cards for a very long time, and, I like to keep things interesting for myself, I like to up my I just like to up my game a little bit. And I found that by adding, and using these cards, in addition to the bulk of the spread, it just makes it more interesting for everyone. And let's face it, sometimes you draw a blank, and sometimes, I didn't really assign any meanings to any of these positions, but sometimes, you see these cards and you think, what? I don't know what to make of it. And if you have a card that's there that summarizes what's here, it might help you, to make the connection. It's just one more piece of advice that will help you figure this part out. Sometimes these cards, that cut to the chase, right? Sometimes these cards provide me with the answer better than these cards do, but they aren't in exclusion of these, they enhance these. Sometimes, for myself, like if I lay, something out and I do a private reading or a personal reading, sometimes for myself, because I'm not paying myself to do, a 9-card spread, sometimes I'll just read these cards in relation to what each of these rows mean, and sometimes I'll just cut to the chase and focus on the answer here, but, if someone's paying for a 9-card spread, I always end up laying 13. So they get 4 more cards than they requested. So if anything, they're getting a greater value, and it's it just enhances the reading, and think it makes it fun, for myself and for my clients. And I hope you agree. I hope you think this is a nice spread. I know that this spread is flexible, and I can use it for any number of situations. I can use it for bereavement when someone's trying to get past, or to not get past, because you never get past a loved one who's gone. But sometimes, when someone's trying to get on with their life and they need help, or they need, some type of encouragement, this spread lends itself very well to that. Sometimes people had a dream and they don't understand all the facets of the dream. And, maybe there were 3 parts to the dream. And this spread lends itself very well to something like that. So it's very versatile, and you can get a lot of mileage out of 3 rows of 3 and the quintessential for each row and the quint for the entire spread. And I'm going to claim it as mine because I've never seen anybody else do it. And I've put it out there enough times that if I'm not careful, someone is going to claim it for themselves, So again, if you use this spread in a public way, please be respectful, and, please say where you saw it and who created it, and use it. Use the daylights out of it, because I think it's a terrific spread. It's been helpful to me for years. I've been doing it for clients for years, and it's my tried and true. In fact, I'm probably going to almost remove all my other spreads and probably just provide this one and another one, because I think this is, such a good spread that I almost don't need to have any others, on my website. At any rate, friends, until next time, peace and stay well.